You would think having the #1 overall pick in the NBA draft, where you could pick any player in that draft class, it would be a pretty high success rate, right? Well, sometimes teams do make the right pick with the #1 overall selection, but then sometimes teams flat out just make the wrong decision. So for today's video, we're gonna look back to every draft since 2000 and reselect the #1 overall pick. Obviously, injuries, team fit, and overall chemistry with the #1 overall pick are reasons why it may not work out for that team originally. But let's start things off with the 2023 draft. I mean, this one's very easy. It's still gonna be Victor Wembanyama. The #1 overall pick originally just put up 21 points, 10 rebounds, and led the league in blocks in his rookie year with 3.5 a night. He's gonna finish top 3 in DPOY. He's gonna be a unanimous Rookie of the Year winner. So obviously it was the right pick there. For 2022, it could be a little interesting. You can give some love to Chad Holmgren, who went 2nd, or even Jalen Williams, who went 12th to OKC as well. Shout out to OKC. Great lottery from them. But it's still gonna be Paolo Banchero, who went #1 overall. It really wasn't a sure thing leading up to draft night that Paolo would go #1. There was a little bit of Chet hype. There was a little bit of Jabari Smith Jr. hype. And it's looking like Orlando made the right decision. Paolo had a great rookie year, won the Rookie of the Year award, played for Team USA in the FIBA World Cup last summer, and has led Orlando to a playoff appearance this year as the best player on that team, and was an all-star in year #2. So we're gonna have our first switch up for the 2021 draft. Obviously, a lot can change. It feels like if you do a redraft with this class, it will change drastically month over month. And if you still think that Cade Cunningham should go #1, I am fine with that. If you want to give some love to Alperen Şengün as well, I'm cool with that. But I'm going to give some love to Scotty Barnes and reselect him with the #1 overall pick to Detroit. He was the Rookie of the Year from this class. He was an all-star in year #3. He was the 4th overall pick originally to Toronto. He looked great as the #1 option in the post-Pascal Siakam Raptors era. He could score, rebound, pass. His shot has improved so much since his Florida State days, and he's a plus defender as well. So I'm going to take Scotty Barnes as the first change up here when I'm reselecting these #1 overall picks. For 2020, we are staying with Anthony Edwards as the #1 overall pick, and averages 26 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, has led the Minnesota Timberwolves to the best record in the Western Conference this year. He was a standout on Team USA in the FIBA World Cup last summer and has true MVP potential in this league. So yeah, staying with him at #1. 2019, we're going to change it up. We're going to go with Ja Morant over Zion Williamson. We know that Ja went 2nd overall in this class. Zion went 1. Even though Ja missed the whole season this year, he has still played 70 more career games than Zion Williamson. Ja's last full season, he averaged 26 points and 8 assists, was an all-star, and led Memphis to the 2 seed in the Western Conference in the 2023 playoffs. Obviously, we're going to be switching up the 2018 draft as well. DeAndre Ayton was the #1 overall pick out of Arizona, going to the Phoenix Suns. It's going to be the 3rd overall pick in this draft, Luka Doncic. I mean, Luka may win MVP this season. He's having one of the greatest offensive seasons in NBA history in his 6th year in the NBA, averaging 34 points, 9 rebounds, and 10 assists a night, shooting 49% from the field and 38% from 3. A true generational talent. Like 2018, for 2017, we are giving the 3rd overall pick in this draft the #1 pick honors. No longer Markelle Fultz will be the #1 pick in this draft. Philadelphia is going to trade up to select Jason Tatum out of Duke. In year #7, Tatum just put up 27 points, 8 rebounds, and 5 assists on the best team in the NBA. So you know what? You're the best player on the best team in the NBA. That's a great feat. Multiple-time All-Star, multiple-time All-NBA first-team member. This one was a no-brainer. For 2016, there's multiple guys you could give it to. It really looked like it would be Ben Simmons throughout the first half of his career, but he's fallen off a cliff. You could give some love to Pascal Siakam, Jamal Murray for what he's done in the playoffs, and Brandon Ingram, even Domantas Sabonis as well. But I'm going to give this to Jaylen Brown, who, like Jason Tatum and Luka Doncic, went 3rd overall. It's something about the 3rd overall pick, man. Over the last 4 years of Jaylen Brown's career, he's averaged 25 points, 6 rebounds, 3.5 assists, over a steal a night, shooting 49% from the field and 36% from 3, with all defensive caliber defense, and not even as the #1 option. He's at #2. Just imagine what his stats going to be as a true #1. For 2015, the 1st overall pick in this draft, Karl-Anthony Towns, has been a really good player in this league, but we're going to reselect the #1 overall pick with the 13th overall pick in Devin Booker. So with the power of hindsight, we could say that Phoenix fumbled their #1 overall pick in 2018, but they definitely hit on their 1st round pick in 2015 with Devin Booker. He just put up 27 points, 4.5 rebounds, and 7 assists a night in his 1st year playing point guard. And as a multiple-time All-Star, has made an All-NBA first team and is averaging 26.5 points, 6 assists, and 5 rebounds over his last 7 years in the NBA. For 2014, you could really give this to the 3rd overall pick in Joel Embiid, but somebody that's just slightly better than him, that has won a championship and a Finals MVP and one more MVP. That's Nikola Jokic, who was the 41st overall pick in this draft. And yeah, you can't fault Cleveland. Nobody thought that Jokic was going to be the best player in this class, but that's the power of hindsight here. So Cleveland would be getting the Joker here, who's on a crazy run. He just put up up 26 points, 12.5 rebounds, and 9 assists this year, coming off a finals MVP, a runner-up in the MVP finish after winning back-to-back the 2 years prior, and he may get his third MVP this year as well. The 2013 draft was definitely the worst draft that we have mentioned so far. The #1 overall pick was Anthony Bennett, so Cleveland is getting a generational talent who went 15th overall in this draft, Giannis Antetokounmpo. Giannis, like the Joker, has 2 MVPs and a finals MVP. He also has a DPOY as well, and has been a top 3 player in the NBA for the last 5 seasons, and is going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer that fell to 15th in this draft originally. 2012, we are staying with the #1 overall pick in this draft. That hasn't happened in a little bit. You could give some love to Damian Lillard as well, who went 6th overall to Portland, but we gotta still take Anthony Davis #1 overall. AD is a 9-time All-Star, 4-time All-NBA member, 4-time All-Defensive Team member. He's on the NBA 75th anniversary team, and has averaged 24 points and 10 rebounds over the course of his career, and also got a ring as the 2nd best player on the 2020 Lakers squad. The 2011 draft is low-key loaded. The #1 overall pick, Kyrie Irving, you can give some love to here. The last pick in the 1st round, Jimmy Butler, who went 30th. Shout out to him. But we're going to take a player that went to San Diego State that was traded for on draft night, and that's going to be Kawhi Leonard. In 12 years since being drafted, Kawhi has a finals MVP with the San Antonio Spurs in 2014 and another finals MVP with the Toronto Raptors in 2019. He's also won 2 Defensive Player of the Year awards as well. And over the last 6 years has averaged 25 points, 6.5 rebounds, 4 assists a night, shooting 50% from the field, 39% from 3, and 88% from the line, along with being at times the best defender in the NBA. Man, for 2010, I wanted to give this to John Wall, the #1 overall pick originally, but with the power of longevity, we're going to give it to Paul George, who went 10th overall to the Indiana Pacers. George was an All-Star this year. John Wall is unfortunately out of the league, and Paul George is a 9-time All-Star, 6-time All-NBA member, 4-time All-Defensive Player, was a true elite 2-way player for quite some time, and over the last 9 seasons is averaging 24 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, and 2 steals a night across 3 different teams. And it's a no-brainer for 2009. It's Steph Curry, who was the 7th overall pick, much better than the #1 overall pick, Blake Griffin, who was still a good player. The draft with Blake Griffin and James Harden, Curry is still in another tier. 10-time All-Star, 2-time scoring champ, 2-time MVP, including a unanimous MVP in 2016, 4-time champion, including a finals MVP in 2022, and is the greatest shooter of all time. Still can't believe Minnesota took 2 point guards ahead of him. Shout out to Johnny Flynn and Ricky Rubio. The #1 overall pick in 2008 was Derrick Rose. He was the youngest MVP winner ever, but unfortunately due to injuries, I can't take him here. So it's going to be Russell Westbrook, who was taken 4th overall by the Seattle Supersonics. Russ is a 9-time All-Star. He was the 2017 MVP winner when he averaged a 31.5 point triple-double. For the 2007 draft, it's going to be Kevin Durant, who was selected 2nd overall by the Supersonics again. Unfortunately, Greg Oden, the #1 overall pick, had a plethora of injuries throughout his career, and KD would go on to be a 14-time All-Star, 2-time NBA champion, the 2014 MVP winner, and one of the greatest offensive players of all time. The #1 overall pick by the Toronto Raptors in 2006 was Andrea Bargnani. We're definitely not reselecting him. And it came down between 2 players, LaMarcus Aldridge, who went 2nd overall, but we're going to go with the 24th overall pick in this draft, Kyle Lowry. Maybe at their individual peaks, you would still like Aldridge a little bit more than Lowry, but Lowry did get a ring as the 2nd best player on that 2019 Raptors squad. And Lowry is a 6-time All-Star. 2011 to 2021, Lowry averaged 17 points, 7 assists, 5 rebounds, a steal and a half a night, and shot 38% from 3, and it's looking like Lowry is going to be a Hall of Famer one day. With the 2005 draft, Andrew Bogut was the #1 overall pick originally, but we're going to reselect the 4th overall pick as the top guy in this draft, Chris Paul, who was drafted by the New Orleans Hornets. And over the course of 19 years, still playing in the year 2024, Chris Paul is a 12-time All-Star, a 6-time steal champ, a 5-time assist champ, 11-time All-NBA member, 9-time All-Defensive Team member, was the 2013 All-Star MVP, and is one of the best point guards of the 21st century. For 2004, Dwight Howard was the #1 overall pick to the Orlando Magic. That is staying the same. In my opinion, Dwight is one of the more underrated players in the 21st century, and had an elite peak as the top defensive center in the league for a 5-year stretch from 2008 to 2012. For the 2003 draft, I mean, it's obviously LeBron James. Gonna go down as one of the greatest players of all time, if not the greatest player of all time. So yeah, that was really easy to do. For the 2002 draft, it's kind of tough. tough because the top 3 players in this class are Yao Ming, Amari Stoudemire, and Carlos Boozer. And you know what? I'm going to keep Yao Ming as the #1 overall pick, even though he only played 7 years in the NBA. But I know injuries came along with Yao's career, so I could see the reasoning for going with Amari Stoudemire or Carlos Boozer. For the 2001 draft, the #1 overall pick was Kwame Brown. So we're going to give it to the 3rd overall pick in this draft, Pau Gasol, who would go on to have an 18-year career in the NBA, averaging 17 points, 9 rebounds, and won 2 rings with the Lakers in 2009 and 2010. And to finish things off with the 2000 draft, a known weak class in NBA history. So the #1 pick originally was Kenyon Martin, but I'm going to change it to the 20-year 6th man legend, Jamal Crawford. He won that award 3 different times, singing in 2010 with the Hawks, 2014 with the Clippers, and in 2016 with the Clippers again. So yeah, that is it for me. I hope you guys did enjoy the video. Over the last 24 drafts, I only kept 8 of the #1 overall picks. That's 33%. And only 4 of those came before 2020. So the last 4 drafts, stuff can still change. That goes to show you the #1 pick is far from a guarantee. And I'm sure we're going to see plenty of volatility this year with the 2024 draft. So if you guys did enjoy the video, I'd appreciate you dropping a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button if you're not already. Let me know in the comments what you guys think of the video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.